All right, let's dive in. Today we're tackling the Japanese yen.
The yen.
But not just like, what's it worth today?
Right.
We're going deep. Like, what forces make this thing go up and down over time?
Oh, it's fascinating. Truly, the yen is like a mirror to Japan's whole economic story.
Exactly. So whether you're like a future tourist or just curious about global money stuff, stick with us.
Yeah, or maybe you're wondering, how can something be a strong currency and a weak one? We'll get to that.
Oh, we've got some cool sources lined up to like really get into this.
Yeah.
First off, we've got stuff from, get this, the Japanese Wikipedia about the yen.
So we're going right to the source.
Which is already cool, right? Yeah. Then there's this article from The Reporter.
Uh-huh.
The title, hold on.
Wow, even the title's a mystery to most of us.
Right. It means like the yen shrinking crisis,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Catchy. I like it.
So that's in Japanese too, adding to the challenge.
But we love a good challenge.
Now to get like the more academic side, we've got these two papers in English, thankfully.
Yes, very helpful for us.
One called Hoki Oshuyu. Ok Egia PDF.
Quite a mouthful.
I know, right? And the other, Hoku KDF, the Kuko PDF.
They're both looking at that 2011 earthquake, the Tohoku one.
Yeah, the tsunami too, and how it messed up, like way more than just buildings. It hit the economy hard.
Global economy too. We're all connected, you'll see.
All right, so first things first, what is the yen? Like real basic.
Okay, so the symbol, that it comes from the Chinese word for round.
Round? Like a coin, I get it.
Exactly. Early coins were round, simple as that.
But then, like, why do we call it yen? That's not very Japanese sounding.
It's thought to be from how Westerners wrote down the sound back when Japan, opened up to the world in the 1800s.
Oh, so it's like a mistranslation that stuck.
In a way, yeah. But what's cool is that in Japanese thought, the circle, it's about harmony, balance.
Whoa, so the yen is like balanced money.
Kinda. It reflects deeper values. You'll see that a lot as we go.
Okay, so big picture, the yen's value, it's been all over the place, right?
Oh, absolutely. Massive swings.
Like, after World War II, $1, you could get 360 yen for that.
Imagine going to Japan back then. A few bucks would make you feel rich.
Right. Now it's more like, what, $1 gets you around 150 yen?
Still a difference, but yeah, nowhere near as extreme.
Makes me wonder, like, how did people even function with such wild changes?
Well, that's the journey we're taking. It's not random. There are reasons behind these swings.
All right, hit me with those reasons then.
Okay, so post-war Japan, total disaster, right? Economy in ruins.
Rebuilding from scratch, basically.
So they had this Dodge plan, named after some American economist guy.
I'm guessing he said, make the yen weak, because that's what they did.
Yeah, they pegged it to the US dollar at a fixed rate.
Fixed meaning, like, no matter what, it stayed the same.
For a while, yeah. And this, plus other changes, it's what led to Japan's economic miracle.
Oh, that's like legendary, right? How they went from zero to hero.
It's wild. A weak yen on purpose, so their stuff was super cheap overseas.
So everyone wanted to buy Japanese, helping them grow like crazy.
Precisely. It was a strategy, not just bad luck.
So being weak was actually good for them at that point.
Exactly. But like with anything, there's two sides to the coin, right?
Oh boy, here come the downsides.
Fast forward to the 80s, Japan's booming. They're selling tons to the US, especially cars and electronics.
Like flooding the market with Japanese stuff.
Leading to, you guessed it, tension.
Yeah, nobody likes feeling outcompeted.
And that's where the Plaza Accord of '85 comes in.
Ooh, that rings a bell. Wasn't that a big global finance thing?
Huge. Basically, the US and others, they told Japan, your yen gotta make it stronger, and now.
To make their stuff more expensive, right? So it wouldn't be such a bargain.
Exactly. Level the playing field, they thought.
But I feel like I've heard this goes badly.
Oh, it did, in a way. See, this rapid yen going UP, it helped cause Japan's bubble economy.
The bubble? Yeah, wasn't that when their stock market and real estate went bonkers?
Crazy high prices, then bam, crash in the 90s.
So trying to fix things, they kind of broke them worse.
Unintended consequences. It happens a lot in economics. The Plaza Accord aimed to balance trade, but
messed up Japan's internal balance instead.
And this led to what some call Japan's lost decades, like their economy stalled out.
Whoa. So something decided internationally had that big impact on one country.
It shows how connected we all are. What happens over there affects us too.
Okay, so this whole strong yen, weak yen, it's confusing, right?
People say both, like it's good and bad.
How does that work?
Well, it depends who you are and what you're doing.
Okay, break it down for me.
So strong yen, good for Japanese people buying imported stuff.
Because their yen goes further, like they can buy more foreign goods.
Right, but it's bad for Japanese businesses selling their stuff abroad.
Because now their stuff is expensive for others to buy.
See?
What about weak yen then? Is it just flipped?
Pretty much. Now Japanese exports are cheap, good for the businesses.
But bad for regular people at home, because imported stuff gets pricey.
Exactly. You got it.
The Reporter article, they had some wild examples of this.
Oh, yeah.
Like those 100 yen shops, everything's 100 yen.
The iconic ones, yeah.
They're struggling. Because with the weak yen, the stuff they import to sell.
It's costing them more, so they can't keep it at 100 yen anymore.
Right. And even Apple, they had to raise iPhone prices in Japan.
No way.
Because of the exchange rate. It was costing them more to sell there.
Wow. So even giants like Apple aren't immune.
And some companies in Japan, they're giving their workers inflation allowances.
Like extra pay just to deal with prices going up.
Crazy, right? All because of how strong or weak the yen is.
It's not just abstract numbers, it hits people's wallets directly.
Okay, so before we get too deep into this, let's shift gears a bit.
Oh, we go.
Remember those academic papers about the 2011 earthquake, the Tohoku one?
Oh, right. That was devastating. Not just the immediate damage, but the lasting economic effects.
Like obvious stuff, rebuilding costs, right?
Of course. And a lot of factories were in that region, so supply chains got messed up.
Like things Japan usually made, and suddenly they couldn't.
And then there's the less obvious stuff, the Fukushima meltdown, remember?
Yeah, the nuclear plant. Scary stuff.
It forced Japan to rely more on imported energy.
Made the yen weaker because they had to buy more from other countries.
Exactly. Ties back to what we were saying, import-export stuff.
So a natural disaster can, domino into a currency crisis.
Kinda. It shows how fragile things can be, and then there's the long-term worry.
Like Japan already had a lot of debt, right?
Massive national debt, and the earthquake just added to it.
Making it even harder to recover economically.
It raised doubts about Japan's future, which impacts how people view the yen too.
Makes sense. If you don't think a country's doing well, you don't want their money.
It all ties together. Economics, natural disasters, even just people's feelings.
So even if I'm not planning on moving to Japan or anything,
yeah,
does this yen stuff even matter to me?
Oh, maybe not obviously, but think of it like ripples in a pond.
Okay, I like analogies.
A weak yen, it makes Japanese cars cheaper all over the world.
True, I've noticed that.
But then that hurts car companies in other countries. They got to compete.
So, my choice of what car to buy is influenced by the yen.
In a way, yeah. And those papers mention Taiwan specifically.
What about Taiwan?
Their economy is really tied to Japan's, so when Japan sneezes, Taiwan catches a cold.
Makes sense. They're neighbors, lots of trade going on.
And sometimes it takes a global effort to, calm the yen down.
What do you mean?
Remember that G7 thing? Back in 2011, they had to step in. The yen was getting too strong too fast.
The whole world was worried about what would happen.
It happens more than you think. Countries working together to manage money.
Wow. So the yen, it's not just some little island currency.
It's a global player, whether we realize it or not.
All right. So we've gone from ancient coins to tsunamis to iPhones, all thanks to the yen.
It's quite a story, and we're just getting started.
But before we move on to part 2, here's something to chew on. Our sources mentioned Japanese companies are rethinking their global strategy after the earthquake.
Makes sense. They don't want to be caught off guard again.
They're trying to be less reliant on just Japan for manufacturing and stuff.
Diversifying, spreading the risks.
Could this be a chance for other countries, maybe even your country, to get into new industries?
Ooh, good question. Japan stepping back opens up space for someone else.
Something to think about, right? We'll dig more into this in part 2, but for now.
Keep those brains buzzing.
Exactly. See you next time.
It's amazing, right? The more we get into the yen, the more it's not just about money, it's about
deeper stuff?
Yeah, tradition, butting heads with the modern world.
How so?
Well, I'll think back. We talked about that word yen, from Chinese for round.
Yeah, the coin shape.
But in Japan, the circle, it's hyuji-e, symbolically.
What does it mean to them?
Harmony, balance, things being connected. It's core to their thinking.
So the yen being round, it's more than just cash. It's
Like their economic A&D cultural identity all wrapped up in one.
whoa, so when the yen goes crazy, it's not just numbers changing, it's
messing with their sense of order, like things being OUT of balance.
that makes sense, like why they try so hard to keep it steady.
Yeah, they've intervened in the markets, done all sorts of stuff. It's not just economics, it's deeper.
Like protecting their, national pride almost?
In a way, yeah. But the irony is this super symbolic money.
It's at the mercy of global forces, stuff they can't control.
Exactly. It's like tradition versus globalization playing out in the yen.
That's like the universal struggle, right?
Yeah.
Not just Japan.
Tons of countries deal with that, how to be themselves while also being part of the world economy.
Makes you think finance isn't just cold and calculating. It's got this human side, too.
Big time. Understanding that makes it way more interesting, I think.
So, okay, yen's tied to their identity, their stability, but like for everyday Japanese people.
Right. How does it actually affect them?
That's where Abenomics comes in, right?
Oh, bingo! That was Abe, the prime minister, his big plan to fix the economy.
And a big part of it was fighting deflation, which is?
Basically, when prices keep going down.
Which sounds good.
Yeah.
Cheaper stuff.
It does, but it's sneaky bad. See, people wait to buy thinking it'll get even cheaper.
So demand goes down, businesses got to lower prices more. It's a spiral.
And a bad one, it kills economic growth. Everyone loses in the long run.
So how'd Abe try to stop this with the yen?
Well, one big move was weakening it on purpose to boost exports.
Makes sense. Their stuff gets cheaper overseas, more people buy it.
And it kind of worked. The yen did weaken, economy got a bit of a jump.
But deflation kept happening.
Yeah, it's tough to kill, and there's debate about how much it helped regular people's wages.
So, mixed bag, but it shows how government messing with the yen.
It has real consequences, for better or worse, on people's lives.
Reminds us that economics, it's not just some theory, it's about how much food you can buy.
Literally, yeah, the impact is real.
Okay, so we've got history, we've got symbolism, we've got Abe's big plan.
Where to next?
What about the future of the yen? Like what's coming down the line?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question. Literally, nobody knows for sure.
But we can make some guesses, right? Based on what we know.
Sure, and some things are almost guaranteed to have an impact, like...
Oh, the aging population thing, right? Japan's got fewer and fewer workers.
That's a huge one. Less workers, slower economy, potentially a weaker yen.
And they can't just, like, magic up more workers.
Not really. It's a demographic trend. It's happening.
And their debt. That's got to be hanging over their head.
Oh, yeah. Huge national debt. Figuring that out will affect the yen, too.
Plus, like, who knows what's going to happen in the world?
Geopolitics, always a wild card, trade wars, who's allied with who, all that mess.
That can make the yen go haywire, just from, like, political stuff.
Totally. And then there's the tech side, digital currencies, all that.
Crypto and stuff, yeah, that's changing everything about money.
Could be good, could be bad for the yen. We'll see.
So basically, Japan's got to deal with old people, debt, and the whole world changing.
It's a lot to juggle. No wonder the yen's value is so unpredictable.
Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's get tangible. How's that?
Tangible.
Yeah, like something you can hold in your hand, yen coins.
Oh, coins. People forget about those with all the digital stuff.
But they have their own story, right? About Japan changing over time.
Oh, absolutely. Each coin, it's like a little window into their history.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. What secrets do these coins hold?
Well, start with the designs. They're not just random. They mean things.
Oh, yeah. I never really thought about that.
Like the 1 yen coin, the tiniest one, it's got a young tree on it.
Oh, cute.
But it's about growth, potential, and how important nature is to Japan.
Deep, man. Deep.
The 5 yen, it's got rice stalks because agriculture was huge for them.
Food. Yeah, makes sense.
But there's also a gear on it for industry, technology.
Like the old ways, ain't the new, all on one coin.
Exactly. Blending tradition and progress, it's a common theme.
Okay, what about the bigger coins? Are they fancy too?
Oh, yeah. The 10 yen, it's got the Phoenix Hall from Byodo Temple.
That's like a famous building, right?
World Heritage Site even shows how much they value art and history.
So like every time I use a yen coin, I'm holding a mini museum piece.
Kinda. Makes you look at them differently, right?
Totally. But remember we were talking about how Japan was short on metal after the war?
Yeah. Tough times.
Did that affect the coins?
Oh, yeah. The 1 yen, they made it out of aluminum for a while because that's what they had.
So even the material tells a story. Wild.
And as Japan got richer, their coins got more diverse, too.
Like they had to invent new ones to keep up with the economy.
Right, like the 500 yen coin came out in the 80s. Big money back then.
A sign of their boom times, basically.
And they had to redesign it recently because of counterfeiters.
People making fakes.
Yep. As tech gets better, they got to keep the coins one step ahead.
It's like a money arms race. Crazy.
But it shows how coins, even today, they got to adapt to survive.
So from tiny trees to high-tech security features, it's all there in the yen.
It's like a hidden world right under our noses. Most people never notice.
Well, thanks to you, I'm going to be staring at my change a lot more closely now.
That's the goal, make the ordinary extraordinary.
So part 2 down, and it's been a wild ride from the meaning of roundness to...
Fake 500 yen coins. What a journey.
Right. But there's more to come, right? The yen story ain't over.
Not even close. We've got to go global. Next part's all about.
The yen on the world stage, how it affects U.S., not just Japan.
Buckle up. It gets even wilder from here.
And we're back. Deep dive continues. Yen time, but like, we're going big now.
Global, baby. The yen out in the world making waves.
Parts 1 and 2, that was like Japan's internal stuff, right?
Yeah, the history, the symbolism, how they use it themselves.
But the yen's not just sitting there in Japan, it's
everywhere. Part of the whole financial system. It matters even if you never touch a yen coin.
Okay, convince me. How's that possible?
Well, think about it. Japan, they're an economic powerhouse, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially after World War II. That recovery was insane.
Exactly. And as they became this export giant, the yen went with it.
Like suddenly everyone was dealing in yen because they wanted Japanese stuff.
Precisely. From a kind of isolated currency to like a global player, all thanks to exports.
So how does that actually work? Like, how does a currency affect trade?
It's all about like relative strength, what you can BUY with it.
Okay, give me an example. Pretend I'm, I don't know, a business owner in America.
All right, you want to import some electronics from Japan, right? Hot stuff.
Yeah, got to keep up with the trends.
Now, if the yen weakens compared to the dollar, bam, those electronics get cheaper for you.
Sweet, more profit for me.
And more sales for Japan, their exports go up, everyone's happy.
Until the yen gets stronger again, right?
Then it flips, Japanese stuff gets expensive, people buy less.
So it's like this constant back and forth, strong yen, weak yen, affecting what we buy every day.
It's wild, right? Currency is like this invisible hand guiding the global economy.
And governments are always messing with that hand, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like Abenomics, remember? Part of that was weakening the yen on purpose.
To help exports, they wanted that cheap stuff advantage.
And it had ripple effects everywhere, not just in Japan.
Like what happens in one country's economy?
It can screw up or help other countries, totally interconnected.
And sometimes they got to work together to fix it, right?
Oh, yeah. Remember the G7 thing? Back in 2011, the yen was going bonkers, getting too strong.
So they all teamed up to, like, calm it down?
Basically, they didn't want the yen to wreck things, so they intervened.
Shows how much power these currencies have. It's kind of scary.
But it also shows how much cooperation there is behind the scenes to keep things stable.
Okay, so yen affects trade, it affects what governments do, but there's something else, right?
We're thinking of reserve currencies.
Oh, right. That's like a whole other level of yen importance.
Big time. See, central banks, they hold other countries' currencies, like, as savings.
Why? Like, just to be diverse.
It's about safety. If things go bad, they need something reliable.
So, like, if your own in-currency tanks, you've got backup.
Exactly. And the yen, it's considered super safe. Japan's economy is stable. Their credit's good.
So people trust the yen, even if they're not Japanese?
Makes it a top choice for reserve currency. It's a sign of respect, basically.
But that respect's got to be earned, right? It's not automatic.
Oh, no. It's years of good decisions, smart policies, showing you're responsible.
So Japan's got this reputation now, like, the yen's a safe bet.
Which helps them in the long run, attracts investment, all that good stuff.
Okay, enough looking back. Let's get futuristic again. What's the yen's future going to be like?
Tough to say, as always, but we can spot the challenges, right?
Oh yeah, the old people, shrinking workforce, that's not going away.
That could weaken the yen over time. Less economic activity means less demand for the currency.
And geopolitics, who knows what crazy stuff will happen in the world.
That's always a risk. Some conflict pops up, suddenly the yen's looking less safe.
And we can't forget the tech revolution, right? Digital currencies, that's a game changer.
Could be good, could be bad. Nobody knows how crypto will affect things long term.
So Japan's got to figure out, like, how to stay relevant in a world that's changing so fast.
That's the name of the game for any country. Adapt or get left behind.
Well, this whole deep dive, it's been mind-blowing, honestly.
From those little tree saplings on the 1 yen coin
To, like, global currency wars, and the future of money itself.
The yen, it's a tiny piece of metal, but it's connected to everything.
I feel like I understand the world a little bit better now, and Japan too.
That's what we aim for. Knowledge is power, right?
Thanks for joining us on this journey, everyone. And remember,
keep asking questions, keep learning. That's how we make sense of this crazy world.
see you on the next Deep Dive.